Welcome to the good life. Welcome to the good life.
The wait is over.
Good morning, and welcome to The Good Life with me, Eileen. We are here on The Good Life Friday, and you know that means we are going to give you a story. We're going to tell you something that's going to warm your heart and soul and will take you through the weekend and just open your minds to living differently in the world. Today we have a story about Carol Brandt Gilmartin and her co-author, Robbie D'Angelo. They are the authors of The Struggle is Real. So they will be here after the break to tell their story about overcoming and triumph. So make sure you stay tuned for that. But in the studio now, you know, the first 15 always goes to NPN because they do so many things for our community, and we really want to reach out to all of the members who are doing something and then not just talking the talk. They're actually walking the walk. And it's funny because I always say that, but that really works today because our group today is Ride NOLA. So I am so excited to have both of these I want to say community activists, organizers, and inspirations in the studio today. So I have Matthew Hendrickson and Rachel Heiligman. Welcome to The Good Life on Good Life Friday.
Good morning. Thank you so much for having us.
I am so excited to have you here because we all have a story to tell. Every single person walking this earth. Ha, ha, ha. Yeah, I like the pun in that. Walking this earth. And that's what the conversation we're really going to get into today. We're really going to get into transportation in New Orleans, what it looks like now and how we can transform it so that we can all live the good life, literally, because there are certain pockets of the city that are not living the good life. And Rachel's kind of nodding her head yes, unfortunately. So if you all can give me a little bit of background about Ride NOLA and tell me what the organization is all about.
Yeah, so our vision at Ride New Orleans is that we can have world-class transit that connects people to opportunities here in New Orleans, but also throughout the region. And so we work every day to promote safe, convenient, and affordable transportation choices. We do research, policy advocacy. We do community organizing. We've got a growing coalition for quality transit. And we really try to benchmark our transit recovery and highlight where things are working, where things are not working, and where we really need to focus our energy as a community so that we can overcome the challenges that transportation sometimes prevents to helping all New Orleanians access, economic opportunity, education, medical services, and just opportunities to hang out with their friends and family.
And so I guess I have so many puns this morning, like the squeaky wheel gets the oil. I'm terrible. But Matthew, this segment is brought to us by NPN. Can you give us a little bit of information about exactly how Ride NOLA got involved with NPN?
Well, sure. NPN, obviously, it does a great job of connecting communities, connecting neighborhoods across the city, similar to how we envision a quality transit system. Just
literally, huh?
Right, exactly. So, love the connection pun as well, Eileen.
I can't help it. I'm corny. I can't help it.
We really work closely with NPN as far as building those kind of coalitions, getting that community highlight priorities and highlight some understanding what community is facing those kind of challenges and really bringing those stories to the forefront of the conversation dealing with transportation. And so we've had some great opportunities working with NPN as far as being a part of their editorial board and really gives community voices a platform to really share their stories. We had a woman, Pam Legge. I hope you're listening today, Pam. Shout out. But she told her story about her Lakeview bus and what it means for her to be a part of New Orleans culture, volunteering at festivals, being able to experience the great culture and heritage of this city. And she didn't feel like she could do that. She felt like Cinderella, running to catch the bus. The bus turns to the pumpkin because it only runs till 6:45 on the weekends or 8 o'clock during the weekdays. And so she felt really handcuffed about what her story or her ability to get to places and experience.
And it's funny because NPN had some interns this summer from UC Berkeley. And so one of the aspects that they were focused on was transportation in New Orleans. And they were here about 2 months. And they were like, you wouldn't believe the difficulty we have getting around. Because whatever the schedule was, it was maybe 10 or 15 minutes off, which is a lifetime when you're planning to schedule and you have your time scheduled around something. So it really does affect your economic situation because you can't get where you need to go in the fashion. And I know some of the focus that you had was making it a little bit having I guess you can explain it better, but having faster and expedited and express.
Yeah, well, it's really an interesting thing to look at. 10 years after Katrina, our transit system is dramatically different than it was in 2005. Our bus service is still down by 65%.
What?
Yes, and so, this poses real
like
challenges.
65, like more than
65, half? Yeah, we have less than half of the bus service that we had pre-Katrina. And so what that means is that, in 2005, you could step outside and know that your bus was going to come within, 15 minutes. You wouldn't really have to consult a schedule.
Right.
Because we had a really frequent network.
Right.
Today we have a really infrequent network, though it is getting a little bit better. But if you miss that bus and you don't consult the schedule, chances are you might be waiting outside for an hour or 2 hours until the next bus comes.
And then you're late for work.
And then you're late for work.
But then it affects your pocket.
And it absolutely affects your pocket. I was just out at Suno yesterday with a professor looking at the bus infrastructure because they're having some issues out there, and we ran into one of our coalition members, Cedric Watson, waiting for the bus, and he said, Rachel, I am so angry. I've been waiting out here, and there's no actual bus shelter. The sign is sort of covered up by a tree, and so the bus often just doesn't see people waiting there unless they go stand in the middle of the street.
Oh my gosh.
And cars are parking in the bus stop.
That's a bit dangerous.
Absolutely. And so he said he was sort of jumping up and down, waving toward the bus to stop, and the bus just blew right past him. And so what that means is he has to wait until the next bus comes, which, again, if we don't have a frequent network, that's a long wait. That impacts his ability to be a student and also to go work his full-time job.
Oh, my goodness. And, I think we take for granted the fact that, I take for granted the fact that I do have transportation and reliable transportation in a car, but everybody doesn't have that luxury. And it is a luxury. And, for those who don't have it, this is literally, it affects their everyday lives. So I was reading a little bit here about the extensive bus networks and the fixed routes with New Orleans and Jefferson Parish and the St. Bernard Urban Transit. How is all of that linked together, and how does that affect our everyday rider?
I mean, it's difficult to navigate. It's a challenge. And, those connections, we really advocate for stronger connections and working with more regional connections.
Because if somebody works in the suburbs and they're or lives in the suburbs, I should say, and works downtown, it's a lot of connections to get to.
People are crossing the parish lines. A lot of low-wage workers, low-income folks. I mean, they, like you said, rely on it, and now they're paying double because they're having to go through two different networks. So there is no coordination. We really want to have that kind of regional approach. And we also we're working on a transit center where we can kind of combine the two systems, get them in and out of the city, and connect folks across parish lines.
What would it take for there to be that cohesive conversation? And look, they're both nodding their heads. And I am here with Matthew Hendrickson and Rachel Heiligman of Ride NOLA, and we're discussing transportation in New Orleans and how we can, make it equitable for everyone so we can all live the good life. What does it take to have that conversation, that cohesive conversation, so that everyone has an equal opportunity just to get to work on time?
Right. So, we really do want to acknowledge that the RTA and Jefferson Transit are beginning to have the conversation. So they're meeting
Wonderful.
on a regular basis with the support of the Regional Planning Commission, and they're asking, they're trying to coordinate how they can achieve one fare structure for the entire system, so that as a rider, if you're living in New Orleans and your job is out at Elmwood or out on Veterans, that you're not paying the fare on the RTA, transferring at the parish boundary line to a jet bus, and then paying a jet fare separately, because that gets expensive.
Oh, wow.
So they're talking about fare coordination. They're talking about timing the transfers so that when the RTA bus pulls up at that Canal Boulevard, City Park Ave area, that the jet bus isn't taking off, right? So
right.
Because
you see so many people running right there.
Right, and
I drive right there on a regular basis.
Dangerous intersection too.
It is. I drive there a lot.
Yeah, and so timing those transfers so that people have a chance to make the connection is something they're working on. And what we really are hopeful for is that they'll think even bigger.
Yes.
So the RTA is getting ready to start a master planning process, which is going to be the first time that they've really looked at their system in a comprehensive way since Katrina. And it's incredibly important as an opportunity that we also use this to think regionally. So obviously the RTA is not running in most of Jefferson Parish, but we need them to set a regional vision that Jefferson Parish can buy into, that eventually the River Parish region can buy into. Because the fact of the matter is that our economy is sprawled out. The jobs are all over the place these days. If you look at the boom that's happening in St. Charles and St. John, there are thousands and thousands of great jobs that are being created that we simply can't get to here in New Orleans if you don't have a private vehicle. And so we need to be working to connect people to opportunity to make sure that all New Orleanians, regardless of, their access to a household vehicle, have a chance to be gainfully employed in a well-paying job. And, I think the situation is continuing to evolve, especially as coastal restoration efforts get underway. Again, well-paying jobs, not too far away, but we need to be thinking now and thinking regionally about how we're going to create connections to these job centers that are emerging across the coastal region.
And speaking of these connections, I know we were discussing this before the show, but these transfer stations, I was reading about it on Ride NOLA, and you all can go to, where can they go to find this information?
RideNewOrleans.org.
RideNewOrleans.org. These transfer stations, I was like, this is amazing. You see them in other cities, but we really don't have, a cohesive network of them here. How could these transfer stations really, open people's transportation abilities?
Well, it can create a much safer and more quality. It's a much better life. Let's put it like that. It's
and we're going to go into the first part, which
you said. A good life station. I like
that.
Because it really is unsafe. If you look at Elk Place, there's no shelters, there's no seats, there's a lot of people.
It's dark.
It's dark, and it's just really undignified, And someone just got hit the other day downtown crossing the street. So it's a safety issue, but it's also just a human issue. And so this transit center, there's a workshop, an analysis currently going on with the RTA. So represents $500,000 investment that really spawned from an action that we did with riders, and we set out 200 chairs along Elk Place. And saying we really need a transit center. We need more shelters. We need more investments. We need to protect our citizens and really have that opportunity to have a safe space. And so the RTA has invested in this analysis, and we're looking at different locations where we can have this transit center. And so it's a really exciting opportunity for community members to come out and give their opinion, express what they really would like to see in that. Would they like to see, how many buses can we, have? How can we increase operations so that we have a much more quality system, so we're increasing our service? And what does it really look like? What do we really want? Besides just, our standard seats and shelters, but, do we have like a countdown clock so when your next bus is coming, or can you pay, off-board purchasing your tickets? And so increasing the speed of the service. So really, high-speed lanes or dedicated lanes to get the buses in and out of the system as quickly as possible. So which means a faster commute.
Right. And this conversation really isn't to beat up on RTA. It's really to open people's minds, letting RTA is listening to what the concerns are, and they're going to create new opportunities so that transportation in New Orleans can, literally be the good life. And so we want other agencies to, kind of look at their example, that they're listening, and maybe do the same thing, so that we can all live the good life. Listen to what the concerns are, and just be a little bit more open to these changes and these opportunities so that, our transportation riders can get to where they need to go on time.
And we really do want to acknowledge that the RTA has dedicated a great deal of their budget and their energy and their time and their effort into creating a more inclusive environment for thinking through these issues. So just a couple months ago, they appointed 22 riders to serve on the very first RTA Riders Advisory Committee.
Wow.
And so that committee has met 4 times. They're meeting again next Wednesday evening. Mm-hmm. And it's really about empowering riders. So there's educational components. This is how the budget works. This is where our money comes from. These are the fiscal constraints that we're under. Help us think through the best way to spend the limited resources that we have, so that we can best be providing service for you. And so that's been a tremendous opportunity for folks to get engaged. But they're also being responsive to the needs, so recognizing that they need to invest in this consolidated transit center, that it should be a point of civic pride in our downtown area, and one that treats riders with dignity instead of really relegating them to a status of sort of appearing to be loitering on the streets when they're just waiting for their commute.
True. I didn't even think about it that way.
Yeah, and so, a lot of credit is owed to the RTA board, specifically Flozell Daniels and the chairman, Salvador Longoria. They've been great allies in this effort. effort. We also want to acknowledge TransDev and Justin Augustine and his team.
Yes, Justin.
For doing great work to help us all out.
And I know we have 1 minute left, so I'm sorry to throw it in there, but the intercity transit, I really want you to hit on that if you could.
Yeah, so there's an exciting effort underway to connect New Orleans and Baton Rouge and the river region with a rail connection. And so this, again, would be one of those things that would really help, our regional economy.
Especially since everyone still is spread out a little bit due to Katrina.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the way that we are sort of, living across the region changed pretty dramatically. And so we need to make sure that across the region that the jobs are connected to the people and that everyone has access to opportunity. And so it's going to be a long-term project, but what's exciting is that the political leadership throughout the super region is all on board with this idea. And they recently asked the gubernatorial candidates who all said yes to passenger rail.
Yes. Well, I want to thank Matthew Hendrickson and Rachel Heiligman from Ride NOLA. And if you want any information, you can go to
rideneworleans.org.
And give us that one more time.
rideneworleans.org.
And this is a conversation that we're going to continue to have. I know Graylin Banks of the Grapevine would probably want to get involved in this conversation as well. So we're going to open that up to him in the conversation during the afternoon show so that everybody can really get in on this. This is The Good Life. So make sure you stay tuned. We are going to be back with an inspiring story that literally, we're talking about writing was a roller coaster of life. So stay tuned because it will inspire you. This is Eileen. This is Good Life Friday, and we'll be right back.
Hello? I need help. My hair is a mess and my man texts me telling me to be ready for 8. He has a surprise. What am I going to do? My stylist takes forever.
I got you. Call Ringlet Salon. I just left there.
Where?
Ringlet Salon. They took me within minutes and had me in and out in no time. Very professional, and I scheduled online at ringlets.com.
For real?
Girl, for real.
Does Ringlet Salon hook up your roots?
Looks like I got a perm, and you know I'm anti-chemicals. Ringlet Salon has my hair soft and bouncy. I'm getting the Brazilian Blowout Express next week. It eliminates frizz for 6 weeks.
6 weeks? Okay, I'm all about Ringlet Salon. Where are they located?
Ringlets has 2 locations, one at 4712 Paris Avenue and one in the Hilton Hotel on the river. That location validates parking for 4 hours and is open on Sunday.
Perfect for a working woman like me. That's all I needed to know. I'm going to be fresh for my man.
You will if you schedule your appointment at ringlets.com. That's RINGLETTS.com.
Bye. Go and make my appointment with Ringlet Salon now.
We welcome our listeners to join us for Frankly Fridays, where dialogue meets debate. Your week in your words with Dr. W.L.T. Littleton every Friday at 11 a.m. on WBOK, Real Talk for Real Times.
Wake up, everybody, no more sleeping in bed. No more backward thinking, time for thinking ahead. The world has changed so very much from what it used to be.
Are you looking for a better way to get fit? Bored with the same old routines? Looking for results or a way to instill discipline in the kids? Tiger Rock Martial Arts is the answer with Taekwondo, kickboxing, and self-defense classes. Tiger Rock diversifies your training in ways that allows individuals of all ages and fitness levels to feel like a champion. Join Tiger Rock today. TigerRockNola.com or 504-455-9694. That's 504-455-9694 with a 3-class starter pack starting for only $38, which includes your training uniform. Learn, grow, and succeed with Tiger Rock's 3 convenient locations: Old Metairie, West Bank, and Clearview. There's no better time to start gaining strength, skills, and protection for life than now. 504-455-9694. 504-455-9694. See you on the mat.
Are you tired of that squeaking door, those uneven steps, or that room you want painted? Have you been looking for that trustworthy contractor that is licensed and insured that can handle all of your residential construction needs? Well, look no further. Elite Southern Solutions can handle all your residential needs. There is no job too big or too small that Elite Southern Solutions can't complete to perfection. Call them at 504-756-7933. That's 504-756-7933. To add value to your home, to update your bathroom, at that
much needed storage, or finally remodel your kitchen? Elite Southern Solutions will take care of that water leak repair, those boards that need to be replaced after termite season. Call a contractor you can trust to get the job done right the first time. And that's Elite Southern Solutions. They are fully licensed and insured and will give you peace of mind. Call them today at 504-756-7933. That's 504-756-7933. That's Elite Southern Solutions, getting the job done right the first time.
Universal Printing in New Orleans East is the place to go for all of your digital printing needs. Universal Printing offers a wide range of printing services and promotional products. They handle everything from business cards to personalized prescription pads. They even print yard signs, banners, and vehicle magnets. Stop by Universal Printing at 9900 Lake Forest Boulevard in New Orleans East near Reed. Or give them a call at 504-244-1177. That's 504-244-1177. Come on down to Universal Printing and let the experts handle all of your printing, marketing, and promotional needs so you don't have to.
You're on the move and so is your bank. Liberty Bank now offers you the power to manage your money from the palm of your hand with mobile banking with Liberty Bank. Whether you need to check balances, transfer money, or view transactions, mobile banking at Liberty Bank allows convenient and secure access to your money. Enroll today at www.libertybank.net and download our mobile app. You can mobile bank at Liberty Bank to keep the power in your hands. Liberty Bank. There's freedom here. Member FDIC, an equal housing lender.
WBOK 1230 AM, the People's Station.
Welcome to the good life. Welcome to the good life.
The wait is over.
The wait is officially over. Good morning, good morning, good morning, and welcome to The Good Life with me, Eileen. We are here on The Good Life Friday, and you know on Friday I like to give you those inspirational stories that will fill your heart, warm your soul, and just lead you into the weekend with a positive mind, opening your mind to living differently in the world so that you can live the good life. This story is so special to me because Carol Brandt Gilmartin is a personal friend. We lived in the same building for a couple years, and she's literally seen Aiden grow up, and I've seen her through some of this path. And I read the first couple chapters of the book that she and Robbie D'Angelo have that will be launching in November. The name of the book is The Struggle is Real. And this book literally brought tears to my eyes and has inspired me to continue on my journey. So many of you know that, on Wellness Wednesdays, it's not just wellness and it's not just something, we talk about and try to inspire the listeners. It's something that it's a process I'm going through myself, and it's a process Doc Griggs is going through. And when you hear this story, it's going to inspire you to get up and, as Doc Griggs would say, get checked, get fit, and get moving. So I want to welcome Carol Brandt Gilmartin and Robbie D'Angelo to The Good Life. They are the authors of The Struggle is Real. Welcome to The Good Life Friday.
Good morning.
Thank you. Good morning.
I am so excited to have you here because this book, The Struggle is Real, is a story of overcoming, a life, I don't even know what to call it, a mountains, because you talk about mountains and valleys. That's, it's a situation that so many of us have, whether we want to admit it or not, whether, we are a healthy size or not in our mind. Sometimes we see ourselves as something different. And so can you all just give us a little bit, a summary about what the book is before we go into your specific stories?
Yeah, absolutely. So, as you know me personally.
I do.
I think you've seen me in every shape and size imaginable. And
as you have seen me.
Absolutely. And just like you said, there are just a lot of people that really struggle with committing, making the time, finding the time, and realizing that if you do set goals, anything is possible to achieve them, and not using food for emotional, whether it's emotional eating. That was a bit of a challenge for me and Robbie both. and you'll read it in Chapter 1, our intro about our story. Or, celebrating. We live in the South. We live in a place that has the best food on the planet. So I think for us, we've been raised to celebrate our successes, family, events and graduations and everything with food. So we really had to, as we say, peel the onion back layer by layer and really understand and address the emotions, the why, so we in turn can share our story on how we collectively lost over 200 pounds.
Oh, wait, say that for the listeners. I don't think they understand that. They collectively lost over 200 pounds, like 200. That is amazing. No, seriously, like 200 pounds.
It really is, and that's what The Struggle is Real will bring to you, our story, how we peel those layers back to really address the emotions and everything that goes along with eating, as well as finding time to get to the gym. You live a very active life.
Yes.
You have a very active son that plays football. Where do you find the time? And so Robbie and I collectively came together to write this book to do that and to inspire millions just like you, to let you all know the struggle is real, but I am stronger, and you can do that.
Absolutely. We are on the line with Carol Brandt Gilmartin and Robbie D'Angelo, the authors of The Struggle is Real. The book will be out in November, and I'm going to read a little quote from it. We all have a story to tell. Every single person walking this earth has experienced the roller coaster of life. We have all had times of great triumph or experiences of unbelievable lows that we thought we would never recover from. Our past are what makes us who we are. And I really thought that was so important, Robbie, because your story is unbelievable, as well as Carol's. And then when you put them both together, having lost over 200 pounds, I was like, we need to hear these stories because, it's these stories of inspiration that really, help us keep going when we just don't feel like it.
And that's exactly right. And that's really what inspired us to write this book is, when we say the struggle is real, it is.
Yeah,
we
it
all
is.
face the struggles every day of our lives, whether we talk about in the book, whether it's the food porn on TV or, being around friends and family that are enjoying all the great foods that that don't align with your goals. So the struggle is real every day. And we just want people to understand that, if you want to make a change in your life and you're serious about it, it's possible and there's a way. It's just a simple decision you have to make. And the reason we talk about your past so much is we are firm believers in the lost art of personal accountability.
Mm-hmm.
In America, we've created a pill and an excuse for every problem in our lives, instead of understanding that the individual decisions that we have made has led us to where we're at in our lives.
Right.
And we want people to really understand the power of their individual decisions and every choice they make throughout the day, because that's really what adds up and determines the outcome of your life.
It's funny because, so many of the targets that you all hit in this book are some of the things that we discuss on, throughout the week of The Good Life. And personal accountability is one we talked about a couple weeks ago on Relationship Tuesday. And what we really honed in on there is the person you are today is only a reflection of your past. You can change it starting today. You can be a different person. You can create different habits. So the person you are today is only because of past decisions and past habits. Change those habits and you will have a different person. And that's
exactly.
And that's
and you
exactly
have the
what you've done.
power inside of you. Every single one of us does. We all have the potential to change our lives. It's just a decision we have to make.
And I'm going to do another quote from the book. Whenever we experience a problem or a setback, we have a hard time accepting the fact that a decision we have made led to the current situation. I was like, oh, yes, and y'all were speaking to me, so I have to take my own personal accountability with so many things. The decision can be anything from the way you interpret a situation or simply just not doing anything at all. And sometimes, I'll raise my hand. I live in a glass house. Sometimes you just don't want to do anything at all. But then that has led us to where we are today. So if we want to do something if we want a different outcome, we have to do something differently. And you all say that in the book as well. What's the definition of insanity?
Doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result.
So,
I mean, that does talk to, what we talk about with that negative baggage. And it really is for you to embrace and learn from your past. And we both know that, our biggest impacts from the past, we can carry them with us in that suitcase, or we can leave the suitcase at the door and journey through that new door and really close that door and seal it shut, right? I used to joke and say I would go back to the door and look for peaks around it, right? Is there any light coming through? But really the best way to address these types of situations is really to close that door and just leave that baggage behind and make those small choices every day that you are accountable for that's going to get you closer to your goal.
Well, I'm glad you said that, because I'm going to delve into each of your businesses, your personal businesses, and I want you to just give us a little bit of your story and your process of losing weight, but also the transformation of finding yourself and finding the person that you are today. Because, Carol, I can just see it in, the way you walk, the way you carry yourself, like, you have it going on. And I don't know if she's going to say it, but I'm going to give the visual to everyone. Carol, you said you went from a 22 to a size 4. All with healthy eating.
I still have my 22 wide, or women's as I call them. I still have a pair of those pants, and I keep them with me just to remind myself where I was. And then when I put my 4s on, I remind myself where I am.
And you did not do it with any pills. You didn't do it with any surgeries. You did it the good old-fashioned way with exercise and watching what you eat.
I did, and Robbie and I both, when we started talking and sharing our story, we both did this naturally. I just went through, as everyone else, a really tough time. Through my 20s, I was a super, super active, teen, gymnastics, cheering, you name it, I was part of it. And in my 20s, of course, I stopped doing that, and I started, raising glasses more and going to bars.
Right,
and
we're in New Orleans.
And it wasn't
Cheers.
It just wasn't as concerning for me. And so that's kind of really when I started, realizing that I had some issues, and I just wasn't as concerned about fitting that physical fitness in. You think that you're indispensable, that, it's not going to happen to you.
Of course not.
And it did, it did. And, yes, I started my business in 1998, and all I did was work. And from there, 1995. And from there, I woke up in 2003, and, yes, I had a size 22 pants. And I was like, what have I done to myself? Like, where did that cheerleader go? Where did that vibrant person go that really is a size 4 living in a size 22 body? And so, my journey from 2003 till now, I joined Weight Watchers with a very good friend of mine. We both said, that's it, we've had it. And I kind of tinkered in it for a while. I went to the Sunday morning classes. I participated in it. I lose a little, I gain a little. And then came Hurricane Katrina. And that just changed the course of my life, as it did for everyone else. And for me, to get through losing my business, my home, my relationship, just everything, I ate. I didn't, as Robbie said, I didn't take, any type of medication. I didn't go out drinking. I just ate my way through it. So then I wake up in 2008, and it's worse. It's just.
I know you said
so
you had a doctor's visit that changed your life.
It did. Robbie and I both discussed our aha moment, and I was going for a wellness checkup at my work at Harrods at the time, and, the doctor, when she walked in this time, had all these pamphlets, and I was like, what is that? Like, I know I'm overweight. I need to lose a few pounds, and she kindly filled out everything that was wrong that I had done to myself: high blood pressure, pre-diabetic, high cholesterol. And I kept on looking at her, and I was like,
not me.
This isn't me.
Right.
This isn't me. It doesn't run in my family. This cannot be me. And she was about as short as me, kind of nudged me over to the mirror. And, she really looked at me and said, you did this to yourself, Carol. You have to go fix it. You have to be accountable, just as Robbie said, personal accountability for your actions. And you need to fix it because now you have put yourself in a really unhealthy situation that you could have these diseases for the rest of your life if you don't fix it.
Wow.
And that really was my moment of truth, knowing that I could not eat another candy bar to ease the pain, right? I couldn't have another piece of pizza to forget about, the stress of, what happened, that brought on this emotional eating. And I left the clinic that day with a very stark reality that I allowed my emotional eating and my lifestyle to control me. And today, on that day, I'm going to take control of my health and my life, and I'm going to change it to be healthy and to live a very healthy, fit lifestyle. And I did. I really focused 2008 on completely self-educating myself, learning everything I could, going to every meeting, and with a new mindset, just like you said, I did it. And it took a while. It didn't take a while. As you say, sometimes people look at you, I did, and said, how did I gain 110 pounds? How did that happen so fast?
Right.
It took a while. It took a while to get off, and I did it healthy.
And I like what you said. It took a while to come
on.
on.
2010,
it took a while to come off.
It was gone. It was gone, day by day, choice by choice, decisions, willpower, exercise, and that's what we share in the book. Our journey, our transformational weight journey on the health side, the fitness side, and the mind side, right? You have to fix the brain. You have to retrain that thought process.
You have to retrain your brain. And that is so important. And what I love about the book is that it's from a female perspective and a male perspective. Because, some guys don't like to read the book that, the women have in their transformation and, vice versa. But, Robbie, we're going to get into your transformational journey when we get back right from this break. This is Eileen. This is The Good Life. We are here with Carol Brandt Gilmartin and Robbie D'Angelo, the authors of The Struggle is Real. And, y'all, the struggle is real. And listen to these inspirational journeys of weight loss and how it's changed their life because you can change yours, too. This is The Good Life Friday, and we'll be right back.
New Orleans Masters of Groove, the Funky Meters, will team up with the legendary Alan Toussaint, Walter Wolfman Washington, and New Orleans' own Queen of Soul, Irma Thomas, at the deliciously entertaining Crescent City Blues and Barbecue Festival, October 16th through 18th at Lafayette Square. This free festival is family-friendly and is powered, produced, and presented by the New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Foundation. This very unique blues festival will include some of the best art exhibits and barbecue in the South with more than 40 local vendors. Vegetarian, vegan, and gluten-free options are available, as well as bread pudding and peach cobbler for dessert. If you're hungry for great music, food, and fun, make sure that you visit us on the web at jazzandheritage.org for a scheduled lineup of all artists performing at the 10th Annual Crescent City Blues and Barbecue Festival to be held in Lafayette Square, October 16th through 18th.
L&R Security provides the good life. They make their mark in the security arena by providing excellent security services for more than 35 years and are licensed in more than 13 states. L&R Security's team comes with a wealth of experience from the military, law enforcement, and law enforcement training. Their personnel is comprised of more than 200 employees trained in video monitoring, special event services, convention services, armed and unarmed security guards, ticket takers, executive security, personal bodyguards, hall monitors, and critical infrastructure personnel that are TSA trained. L&R Security services are provided on a 24-hour basis and have expanded to the newest technology, including video monitoring. Find them on the web at www.lrsecurity.com or call them today at 504-943-3191. Again, that number is 504-943-3191. Live the good life with L&R Security today.
Hello, I need help. My hair is a mess and my man texts me telling me to be ready for 8. He has a surprise. What am I going to do? My stylist takes forever.
I got you. Call Ringlet Salon. I just left there.
Where?
Ringlet Salon. They took me within minutes and had me in and out in no time. Very professional, and I scheduled online at ringlets.com.
For real?
Girl, for real.
Does Ringlet Salon hook up your roots?
Looks like I got a perm, and you know I'm anti-chemicals. Ringlet Salon has my hair soft and bouncy. I'm getting the Brazilian Blowout Express next week. It eliminates frizz for 6 weeks.
6 weeks? Okay, I'm all about Ringlet Salon. Where are they located?
Ringlets has 2 locations, one at 4712 Paris Avenue and one in the Hilton Hotel on the river. That location validates parking for 4 hours and is open on Sunday.
Perfect for a working woman like me. That's all I needed to know. I'm going to be fresh from my man.
You will if you schedule your appointment at ringlets.com. That's RINGLETTS.com.
Bye. Go and make my appointment with Ringlet Salon now.
Are you looking for a better way to get fit? Bored with the same old routines? Looking for results or a way to instill discipline in the kids? Tiger Rock Martial Arts is the answer with Taekwondo, kickboxing, and self-defense classes. Tiger Rock diversifies your training in ways that allows individuals of all ages and fitness levels to feel like a champion. Join Tiger Rock today. TigerRockNola.com or 504-455-9694. That's 504-455-9694 with a 3-class starter pack starting for only $38, which includes your training uniform. Learn, grow, and succeed with Tiger Rock's 3 convenient locations: Old Metairie, West Bank, and Clearview. There's no better time to start gaining strength, skills, and protection for life than now. 504-455-9694. 504-455-9694. See you on the mat.
We welcome our listeners to join us for Frankly Fridays, where dialogue meets debate. Your week in your words with Dr. W.L.T. Littleton every Friday at 11 a.m. on WBOK, Real Talk for Real Times.
Wake up, everybody, no more sleeping in bed. No more backward thinking, time for thinking ahead. The world has changed so very much from what it used to be.
WBOK, New Orleans.
Welcome to the good life. Welcome to the good life.
The wait is over.
The wait is officially over. Good morning, good morning, good morning, and welcome to The Good Life. I'm playing around with my producer, Lee. We are here on The Good Life Friday. You know, we like to warm your soul and, you know, get you moving and get you inspired, and that's exactly what Carol Brandt Gilmartin and Robbie D'Angelo have done for me. Carol is actually a personal friend, and I've seen her go through this journey, and she's actually one of the people who inspired me to keep going, because they are the authors of The Struggle is Real. And yes, the struggle is real. Their book comes out in November, and I will have them back on Wellness Wednesday just to kind of give us an update on exactly, you know, some tips that kept them motivated and moving. But right now we're going to kind of jump back into, we heard Carol Brandt Gilmartin's story, and we're going to listen to Robbie D'Angelo's story, because sometimes the guys, you know, they want to hear the guy's point of view. So I thought this quote was very touching. Robbie said in the book, "It is in the culmination of your choices that equals the outcome of your life." I was like, Robbie, that hit home for me. Go ahead and give us a little bit of your story.
All right. My background is actually, you know, this is one of the great things about the book is my background is completely different than Carol's.
Right.
Where she grew up always fit and healthy, I grew up the complete opposite. You know, ever since I can remember, I was always overweight. I was always, quote unquote, the fat kid. And, you know, growing up, you know, where Carol struggled with emotional eating later in life, I struggled with it early. I came from a, you know, athletic family where my parents were very successful athletes. My mom's actually in the Tulane Hall of Fame for basketball.
Wow.
So I grew up in that, you know, high pressure environment, and it's not the pressure from them, but it's the pressure we put on ourselves to make mom and dad proud.
Right.
You know, live up to their expectations. So I grew up, and what I did was I used food to, you know, fill the voids in my life that wasn't there from the athletics. So I grew up always, binge eating and just stuffing myself full because that's what made me happy. And it was just a reoccurring cycle that I didn't understand why at the time.
Right.
When you're that age, you don't understand why you're doing the things you're doing. It's later in life when you look back in retrospect, you see that.
Right.
So, all my life I grew up big, and then, around my 7th, 8th grade year, I was faced with a decision: do I want to try and play college football, or do I want to try and lose some weight? And my dream was playing college football, and I knew my best opportunity to do that was to become this massive human being and get as big as I could possibly get to play college offensive line, and that's what I did. I progressively put on 20 pounds all 4 years of high school, graduating at about 280 pounds, and achieved my dream, which, did make me excited. I finally felt, hey, I'm doing something. I'm making my parents proud of me. I'm following in their footsteps. So got to college, and it was a real struggle for me to keep on the weight. We were working out so hard, running so much, that I was literally having to eat 10 to 12,000 calories a day to maintain my physique, to be close to 300 pounds. It's crazy. I mean, looking back.
You had the opposite situation. You were trying to stay big.
That's exactly right. I mean, looking back.
And so many guys really, have that struggle, the opposite struggle.
Exactly. It's crazy because, when I look back now, every morning, for a couple years, I would get up and drink a 2,500 calorie protein shake just to start my day.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I mean that's a lot more calories than most individuals take in a day.
In a day, and you just drank it.
I was doing it for breakfast.
Right. Oh my gosh. That's scary. As a woman.
Me, I got sick and tired of being sick and tired. When you're having to eat like that, you're lethargic, you're tired, your body doesn't respond the way you want it to. And I got tired of feeling like that. Every day of my life, 24/7, I was walking around with that feeling we all know too well of just leaving a buffet. That feeling of being overstuffed and all you want to do is go get in a food coma somewhere.
Take a nap. I call it the itis.
And, I was sick and tired of feeling like that. I knew what was inside of me, and I knew I wanted to change. So literally the day after my last football game, I had that paradigm shift in my head and said, okay, now you no longer have to be big. You're in control of your life. What do you want it to look like?
Wow.
So I started losing the weight, and I went through a few knee surgeries, like I talk about in the book. I've actually had 6 to date so far.
Wow. Due to the weight?
It was due to the weight, but also due to just playing college football.
Right, a little bit of both.
Exactly. I was getting banged up. So I had a couple knee surgeries, and within probably a calendar year, I managed to lose about 90 pounds.
That's amazing.
And it was nothing more than, continue working out like I was with football, but just changing the way I was eating. And back then, I didn't really know how to eat. I was completely uneducated on nutrition. So I was just taking in less calories. I figured if I take in less calories than I burn, I'm going to lose weight. And it is a simple math equation like that. So that's what I did. And I actually got to the point where I was working my way through grad school, super busy, so I wasn't able to work out as much because I was getting my master's at the time. And I would walk around people that hadn't seen me in a couple of years. They remember the big me. And I would literally walk by them, and they wouldn't recognize me.
Oh, my goodness.
And I would have to go back and reintroduce myself to them. And
let me reintroduce myself.
The awkward question always followed, are you okay? Are you sick? Is everything all right? Because I almost looked unhealthy because I didn't really fully understand how nutrition worked in the body and how to work out. And I didn't understand all those things. So I just knew how to lose weight.
Right.
And that's what really, like Carol did, that's what really propelled me into self-education. That's when I started diving into just any avenue I could find to educate myself on all the aspects of health and nutrition and fitness and working out. Anybody who would listen to me and talk to me, I would talk to.
Wow.
Any publication out there, I would read. Time on the internet. I mean, really, you can find anything you want to on the internet. And that's one of the big things we talk about in the book is if you want something bad enough, you'll find a way to do it.
And I'm glad you said that. Listeners, we are on the line with Carol Brandt Gilmartin and Robbie D'Angelo. They're the authors of The Struggle is Real. The book comes out in November. And one of the things that you really focused on in the book is willpower. And I'm going to read another quote from the book. Willpower's number one role is to control and overrule our emotions. To make decisions that we make are based on emotions rather than a logical goal in mind thought process. Every time you make the right decision to skip the cinnamon roll, we all know that, to go to the gym, to get an extra workout in, that decision, that step will affect your outcome. Will you get your goal with making the right decisions every day? You will achieve your goal. Willpower. That's one of the things a lot of us struggle with. And, it's just like you said, the will to have the power to, overcome. So how did willpower really help you all, Carol?
I would have to say, for me, it is my strongest muscle that I had to make my biggest muscle.
Wow.
Right? So for me, it's a muscle, and you have to build it, just like you do your triceps, your biceps, right? Your abs, your quads. It is a muscle, and you have to build the willpower to support your goal. And when I think about my willpower and when that moment came on in that doctor's office in 2008, I knew that I was going to have to really start to learn how to build my willpower and not walk down the Walgreens aisle and buy 5 candy bars and eat them by the time I got home. Right. I had to figure out how to use that muscle, how to build that muscle. And for me, I have to attribute a lot of that, as Robbie has talked about, his past with his family. My dad and my mom have been amazing support systems, and my father actually wrote me an amazing poem about willpower, and it's in the book. And it actually
they have to get
says,
the book to read
willpower is made, it's not born. It's sparked by desire. It's strengthened daily by repetition. Anyone can develop willpower at any age. And I agree with him. I don't believe that willpower requires me to deprive myself of anything now. All I'm doing is making the decision to work with my mind and my body to achieve my goals. And that, to me, is developing that proper mindset. And it doesn't happen overnight. Eating right, eating 5 candy bars to eating 4 cups of broccoli or whatever it is that I'm eating doesn't happen overnight. We know that,
right.
And, for me, the feeling of willpower really, it's a behavior, but it's a muscle. And if you work with that muscle and establish those good behavioral patterns, it is a skill that can be applied successfully to every aspect of your life. But for me, that's where it had to start. And my father just reminded me that it is never too late to develop willpower. And I'm so blessed because of it, because that is my biggest muscle, besides my heart. My biggest muscle in my body mentally is my willpower.
And I'm glad that you say that, because with willpower and growing that muscle, you need it, because you're going to have naysayers. And I'm glad that you each had your family's support, but some people don't have the support of their family. Sometimes, their family, have, and I don't want to call them bad habits, but, just uninformed decisions about eating. And sometimes, it's just a hereditary thing. We just don't know any better. And so you have those people who deal with that negativity all the time. But I'm reading in the book that Carol and Robbie both, you use that negativity and channel it to fuel your goals rather than, kind of let it get you down. So how have you been able to do that?
Well, me personally, when I spent my whole life being overweight and I started losing weight, I would tell people, I would throw out my vision to people and say, hey, I'm going to look like this. I'm going to drop this amount of weight. I'm going to do this. And they would say, oh, you can't do that. There's no way you can do that. And one of the things I talk about in my story is, kind of a crowning achievement for me was when you're over 300 pounds like I was and had so much weight to lose, every guy out there has always dreamed of having visible abdominal muscles.
Right.
That's just kind of one of those things. We all want them because we know that girls like them and we know they look good. So we always strive for that. So when I was 300 pounds starting to lose weight, and I would tell people I'm going to have abs one day and you're going to be able to see them, they would just give me this dumb look. And the comments they would make would just baffle me. I'm like, what, really? You're not going to support me in this?
Mm-hmm.
But I use that as I'll show you.
Right.
Watch what I'm about to do. And that does nothing but fuel me, because when doubters come into your life, you can let them bring you down if you want to, or that competitive energy will kick in and you'll say, okay, I'm glad you're doubting me because I'm fixing to prove you wrong.
Right.
And that's the way I took it. I just took it as a challenge. And it's made me propel myself a little harder and a little further than I ever thought I could.
And I love the way you say that. Using that negativity has propelled you to do great things. And I need you all to look out for the book. It's coming out in November. The Struggle is Real. We are on the line with Carol Brandt Gilmartin and Robbie D'Angelo. They have literally changed their lives, and you can do it too. So Carol and Robbie, I'm going to have you back because the struggle is real, and we're going through it every Wellness Wednesday. So I want you all to come back to give us little tips about, how we can change our eating habits so that we can all live the good life too. Thank you so much for being here and sharing your stories. And is there an email or something that we can contact you?
There actually is a Facebook. We have a very active page. Facebook.com. The Struggle is Real book is our Facebook page.
Perfect.
Super interactive. We hand out and really just share our emotional, what inspires us and how we can help others evolve. So please go to our Facebook, like us, share us. Make sure to get ready for the book, because we are going to be taking America by the storm and getting everybody motivated and inspired.
Well, that's what we're going to do right here on The Good Life. We're going to open your minds to living differently in the world, and you're going to start by reading the book, The Struggle is Real. I will post it on all of my social media, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook as well. The Struggle is Real. So make sure you check that out on the Good Life Radio Show. And make sure you tune in on Monday for Money Monday, because the struggle is real. This is Eileen, and I'm out.